cut. You too can watch me fuck up my telescope. Okay. I won't do anything bad this time. I've already figured it out. But we are in the middle of bug season right now. Okay. That's gonna go elsewhere. It's gonna go into the cooler. And my power supply is way over there, naturally. Which we probably should do. I don't know what the battery is on this one. It's been reliable so far, but we don't want to push it. So, counterweight. That'll be handy. Both of them. I have two counterweights. This one is the slick one that goes on the telescope, and the other one is on the mount, which is the heavier one. But necessary, since I seem to want to put everything in their brother onto the mount. So. Hopefully I'm getting started at a little more reasonable hour. Well, I'm going to leave it. So that went in the right direction. And there we go. This is a nice clamp. It's got two clamp screws, but you have to kind of put them up even. There is no one at a time or anything like that. Everything works. There's enough clearance for the dew shield on the counterweight on the front. And I think it's time for some eyepieces. But you guys got to see the alignment procedure, which is probably not going to be any good until it gets dark. So I can probably put this down here now. Clear off some space. Everything has its place when you get doing this stuff. If you don't, then you end up with a whole unholy mess. And in the dark. You all know about unholy messes. Okay. So. And so, let's get out an eyepiece. So we can pretend to do an alignment. It's starting to get dark here, so we'll probably be good to go soon. I usually use the 32 millimeter. This guy, can't see you guys. Here we go. Usually use this guy for doing the sighting or alignment because it's very wide and you can catch whatever you're looking for pretty quick. So it's a good eyepiece to use for that. Adjust that a little bit. I took out the focal reducer tonight, so we're going to look through native native optics on the thing, which is an F10, not spectacular, but that's what we use. And I gotta have a place to put that. But we figure we'll give it a whirl. Everything I've been viewing has been in the center of things, so it can't be too terrible. Keep this handy. Because Matt is going to be coming over later. He was the guy who was here last night, and he got sleepy. And he'll be back over. Where did I put my drink? Oh, it's over there. And look at that. Our friends in the lowbrows have got the Milky Way spotted already, I guess. Probably out in Lake Hudson in the west. I don't know how. I haven't looked at Adrian's post either. Currently, I'm kind of scouting for any star I can find. And I'll settle for Arcturus at this point. Let's check on humidity tonight. That could be fun too. There's two numbers always to look at in Astrospheric. It's an app on your cell phone or on a web page. It's very handy, and it's basically weather for astronomers. And it tells you two temperatures. One is the air temperature, which everybody looks on the thermometer can read. And then they tell you the dew point. I don't know if you can really see this very well, but you can see when the temperature, the orange line, goes down, and the closer it gets to that blue dew point line, when they cross, you get dew, and it's like rain. You do not want that, so that's why you have one of these dew shields. Being a bit tutorial tonight, only because I didn't do it last night. I had a friend over, and while he's not here, we'll just wait for a star to come out and then do the alignment. So sit back, if anybody's there, which you're not, ask questions. I'm gonna go get my drink. Tonight I did bring my observing chair, which is kind of an infinitely adjustable stool that allows you to basically adjust it to any place, any position, height that you'd like, so that whenever your telescope is viewing, you can always be at the perfect height to look at things for a long period of time. Otherwise, you get sore backs, sore necks, all kinds of nice stuff. Tonight is seemingly a little buggy, or maybe a little more humid than last night. I'm hoping it'll just cool off and we won't worry about this anymore. Oh, yeah. Best thing you can do for observing is to take the cover off of the objective. Well, last night we viewed M5, Messier 5, which is a globular cluster, and it took two, they were 30 frames, but they were about 25 seconds a piece, and took two versions of that. One was kind of native on the camera, and the other one was with a Lumicon deep sky filter that I had bought about 15 years ago. Hadn't paid too much attention to it, and basically just going to try out to see if it made any difference. I'm only about halfway through the native processing one right now. I finished the filtered one, and so far it looks pretty good. I've got a couple other takes that I did. I think one of them is going to be kind of garbage, so I'm not worried about that one. But we'll process everything. I tend to do that anyway because A, it gives me something to do when it's raining outside, and B, I want to see if I had any neat surprises. Every now and then you get some surprises that you couldn't believe that you caught. And it's always a good idea to treat everything like it's there's a hidden gem in there. And what time we got? It is 9:34, and it is starting to get dusky out. Keep a little journal so that you know what settings you used before for the cameras and the gain and all the other goofy variables you got to deal with. That way you don't ever forget anything. It helps to be a little bit OCD in this hobby, that's for sure. Neat. Some kind of June bug mayfly thing just got caught up in all the wires. You can leave anytime, dude. Yeah, I don't need you. Yep, June bugs. And it's June out. Right now, though, Doug Bock up at near Highland, his observatory is going nuts. He does stuff that's probably no darker than it is here right now. And look at that, we have Arcturus. I bet we could get an alignment. Maybe. If I can convince it to do it. Last night it was just absolutely set. It was going to do Vega. So The way this operates has got a GPS and a computer in the mount there, and I don't know if it's in the handset or where it's in the mount itself. Probably a lot of gears and the battery and stuff. But basically, it picks out some targets for you, and you try to use it. I don't like aligning to something that's directly overhead like that because you end up with an inaccurate alignment, and then it doesn't track worth a darn. Kind of hoping these mosquitoes stay away like they did yesterday. Mosquitoes are just no fun. I think I'm going to wait for a few more minutes. So even though the sun goes down at like 9:20 or something, it's 15 minutes later and you can still see everything pretty well. It's dusk. But I think they say astronomical twilight isn't for like another hour. Hello, we're excited, so we ignore it. The trouble with lining up top is it's very hard to find the star and the guide to it. There's another star. They're starting to come out. It'll be just a few minutes. You should be able to see that thing once we get it fired up. Tonight will probably be another moonless night. The moon isn't going to come up until like 8 a.m. or something. So it'll be one of those morning moons. Astronomers love it because they got a good, clear, dark night to deal with it. Isn't this exciting? But here we are in Ypsilanti, Michigan, doing astronomy for fun. And if you stick around until probably 12:15, 12:30 or so, or just after midnight, Jupiter and Saturn will come up in that gap in the trees over there, which is where my mouse cursor is, but I doubt if you see that. And I will get out a camera and try to take better pictures of that tonight. The new camera is kind of challenging because the chip is really big, and if you try to zoom in, it just makes things blurry. So we'll see what we can get off of that. Ooh. I think that's a star over there. No idea what that might be. It's really low in the sky, though. Time to check the map. It's probably Antares. Way over there. It's the only thing that's that bright at this time of day. Vega is the brightest star out right now, and that's why they like aligning to it early on. But big pain. I can't see it because I got this marvelous tree off to my shoulder. And there's Spica. I think we can give this a try. Okay, well, it's still modestly light out, and you can probably see the scope. This is a, now let's make sure I got this good and tight too. Yep. And this scope is all computerized, so all I do is turn it on. You can probably see the handset here, and it's going to basically zero itself out. And yes, I do want to run the assignment wizard, and it's basically going to go find its home location. And assuming I tightened everything down enough, which I think I did, the scope won't slide off. That's happened before. I don't recommend it. Quite frightening. Counterweight is in the way. Not good. I wonder why it wasn't in the way last. Just got to remove it. This. This would be the one thing I think I'd do to get the one of those piers. It gets the telescope well above, and you don't have to worry about any of your gear hitting the tripod leg and gnashing your gears and clutches and making a mess of things. And this telescope is problematic because it's got such a heavy focus around the back end. That just clears. How the heck did I align last night? Maybe I didn't put the weight on immediately or something. It basically goes full 360 around in both axes and finds its 0 point. And sooner or later, it's going to ask me what star I want to align to. Great. It's pointing straight up, precisely, and staying there. Okay. We're going to try the ultimate alignment once more. Scope off. Sometimes it does this. It just gets confused, goes to 0 position, and stays there. I do not know why. This looks better because it's slewing to point up first, and then it's going to go backwards. Previous time it didn't do that. Must have been confused about something. Okay, now it's going to go try to find Vega. And we're going to tell it no. Because we can't see Vega because there's a big tree in the way. We're going to say back. And no more alignment stars. Alignment assist failed. Okay. So we're going to do a manual alignment. 1 star, Arcturus. No, but let's try Antares. Or Spica. How about Spica? That's in a good position. The GPS ensures it's supposed to know where it's going, but heavy emphasis on supposed to. We usually have to pull the primary mirror back when we're doing visual. Now you can't see nothing. What's that? This is kind of the part I hate. Cameras use different focal points than your eyeball and the eyepieces, so kind of move things around and play around with them for a while. And I'm not even sure if it's pointed at Spica. It's probably not. Dirt frog. And it'll probably be recorded for posterity at this point. I'm going to point it at the treetops and get some idea whether I'm close or not. Because as I mentioned before, my laser finder scope thingy locator is got a dead battery. I thought we had a gazillion of those things sitting around the house, but we do not. Okay. Now I can see the branches of the trees a million miles away. Somebody's having some illegal fun with firecrackers when it's not a holiday. Although Flag Day was yesterday, so who knows? There's a star. Okay. Let's bring this guy in. Get him centered. Oop, wrong direction. Too fast. That looks pretty darn good. And press enter. And it's now tracking. Da, 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 da. So what can we see at this time of night? Well, technically anything. But I am going to put the counterweight back on. Maybe not as high. Low. It cleared last night, so I know it's possible. Always something fun. With that, let's go see if our friend M5 is around. It's probably going to be pointless at this point because it's still kind of bright. There's nothing to see yet. What if we have something bright we can look at? Normally that's the moon, but well, let's check on Antares. See if that's still around. And here, you basically, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's backwards, but you can basically go down to select and slew up top, enter. You have solar system objects, deep sky, and stars. We'll go down to stars, and then we'll find Antares. Name stars. There's a whole bunch of Arab-sounding names with Al something or other in them. A whole bunch of AL Antares. That looks like the one I was looking at, yeah. But is it going to see a tree? think we're tree bound. I'm going to guess that it's just out of the field. There it is. Still kind of dim, but it does show up. That's it anyway. Thought it'd be a little brighter than that, but stars are kind of tricky. Because as you're looking for them, that looks a bit better. It's got a double. They all look the same size. In the telescope, they all look like points of light, and brightness is a little different. But this one is, Antares is very low in the sky. So it's a little twinkly as it's looking through a lot of stuff. I'm going to bring out Sky Safari. Let's see what it says about Antares. Sky Safari Pro is a wonderful app. It's a map of the sky. This telescope, actually, you can even use it to control the Antares. Yes, there's a smaller star right next to it. It looks like a Messier object close by. No. Ooh, yes. What is this thing? M4. It's right near that thing. Well, we can take a look at M4, see if it's visible. Looked at M5 last night. What the heck? Looks pretty bright. Cool. Yep, barely moved. It's still kind of bright to see the dim objects. But as I was finding out last night, there's a ton of clusters out there. And let's see, we want to plug in our mount so we never run out of power. Well, on that note, I think I'm going to switch over to screen control, and maybe we'll hook up a camera or something. Cords. Nice camping table, but tends to catch every cord. Every cord. Side a little bit. Really got to turn the screen down. It's very bright. And yes, you are being recorded. Share my full screen. Well, we can show you what we did last night anyway. actually whole screen. And so if we go into, come on, go away, there we go. We go into this was M5 last night. So I already got labeled and everything. You can see all the different colors in the stars, hopefully. Got some yellows over here, golds. This one wasn't particularly in focus. Had a lot of problems with focus last night, actually. I'm going to keep that open. And then what I've been working on today in AstroPixel Processor, which is quickly becoming my favorite program. Hoping to turn down the screen brightness somewhat. Oh, I pressed the right key. There we go. It's killing me. This is M5 taken on the native. You see it's got a lot of stuff in there right now, but this is the vignetting that's caused by that focal reducer, which is, like I say, it's problematic at best. Not my favorite effect, but it allows you to capture the deep space stuff a lot easier. And you see at the bottom of here, it goes through, brings in all your raw images and whatnot, so you can look at any of them along the way. And the other processors, like in this one, when we were doing M5 before, each one of these abbreviations is a different stage. And so the raw stack is up here. This is with the color correction, light pollution. I forget what that is. Oh, the background color. Did that one up there for some reason. I don't know why. But it's a miracle program. And usually I end up touching it up with and cropping it with Photoshop. I used to use GIMP. I have to re-explore GIMP a little bit, and there's another package called Photoline from Germany that it looks a lot easier to use than Photoshop. But Photoshop is the one everybody knows, so you can get help with it. But this was in the website there. This was my astronomy bunch of stuff. This was the M20, the Trifid Nebula, which was kind of a hard one to get. I didn't get very much coverage off of it, but it turned out really, really well. And then again, this is AstroPixel Processor. And here there's a lot of variety in the colors of the stars. The nebula itself is kind of going from this dark crimson to pinks. There's a blue-green that's up in here. And that's straight out of the catalog. So I was real proud of this one. Had a couple of versions of it. This one was obviously some overexposure, overprocessing, even worse. But you get better. This is another cluster we did of M10. That was the original Trifid. So you can see it was kind of okay. Still that vignetting that was around here. This one says M71. There's some ones that turned out, and this is should be M31 Andromeda Galaxy. Getting a few mosquitoes here. And then I think it's M33 is off to the side here as a secondary one, but you can see the dust lanes came out really well. It does that really nicely. Let's see if we got any responses. Nope. Okay. Got the Whirlpool Galaxy. That was, for some reason, it didn't take color images. The Ring Nebula. I don't have that one labeled. Might be Hercules cluster. Another, the Whirlpool. And this one is probably the best one I've taken. It's M57, the Dumbbell Nebula. And you can see the kind of construction of this thing. The image itself rotated so much while I was capturing it, which I think I had about an hour's worth of stuff that the other programs really didn't know what to do with it. And they did okay with the central object, but they completely smeared all the stars. An AstroPixel processor brought all this together, and it looked really nice. So we are getting some dark stuff now, so we'll see what we get. One moment, please. I bet we could stick a camera in there and pick something up. Let's get out of camera. Matt's not going to be here for a little while. He said he had some stuff to do with his dad, which is great. Always spend time with your dad. You only got one, and when they go, they go. They go, there ain't no more. You only get one. You're going to carefully take this out of here. Place it aside with the eyepiece cover on it. Doesn't get any dust or dew on it. We'll carefully put our expensive camera on here. Now, these cameras all use compression rings instead of set screws. Any camera worth its weight will do that instead, because frankly the set screws can slip, and you don't want that. Where's the USB port? It's dark. Believe it or not, I do have a red light flashlight, and you can see where it is. Nowhere near me. Okay. I always plug in the cooler because you never know when you're going to need the cooler. I'm going to stick on a coat just to keep myself bug free. I get eaten alive. And remember, we have M4 showing now. And we're going to call up Sharp Cap, which is our capturing program. I can probably shut down a pixel processor. Yeah, that just takes up memory at this point. And Sharp Cap is starting up. Camera is getting cooled down. Usually we cool the cameras to about 15 degrees below ambient temperature, that is. I don't think I have a cooler on. Thermal controls, yeah. And usually, if you get it to 15 degrees Celsius below ambient, that's usually enough to take off any noise. And while we're trying to focus and do things, we basically turn up the gain to unbelievable levels. Put the exposure up maybe a couple of seconds so we can see what we're looking at. Now you remember I had to twist out and play around with the focus. We got to do that again. But from the histogram there, you can see we are indeed pointing at something. So this thing should come into focus after a little while. Assuming we're not pointed at a tree. Which we just might be doing. Let's go to Spica. That way we can name stars. probably should write down Spica's number. Look at that, 227. Anybody gonna write that down? And you see the big old donut there. This is what we're going to try to reduce. I think I'm going the wrong direction. Yep. So we want the donut to get down to a point. And it looks like we're going to have to move it up just a tad. And then we'll do a neat trick with what they call a Batnoff mask. Which will allow us to super precisely focus this. Oops, wrong direction. Everything's reversed. And see, now this heavy exposure kind of works against us. So we turn down this gain a bit. You see those little spikes in there. So now we're gonna lock the focuser. Must have. And now we can use the fine focuser to really dial it in. But it's still overexposed. That star's bright enough where it doesn't need anything like this. Getting nearly 2 seconds. Yeah, that's about a half second. We can turn down the gain to reasonable levels. They have something called unity gain. That is, where did I put that? Did I leave that out? No. And see what this does. And maybe we'll crank up the gain just a pinch so you can see a little bit more exposure. You see there's a cross and then a line that goes there. And if you're in focus, you basically focus until you move that line so it is in the center of the two crosses. Steady hand time. I'm looking, I don't have much adjustment on this. On the exterior focuser, I'm going to use the main focuser here. And you can see I kind of overdid it. It's too low. So now we're going to crank it in a little bit using the coarse focus. Let it settle. And you know, that's pretty damn good right there. To see this, the three tines here are perfectly in the middle of that whole thing. And that's what a Betanoff mask does. So now that's started perfectly in focus. Not tuning a radio, Jeff. We take that off, set it aside for the next time we need to check. We're good to go. And so now it would be possible to go to something in the area of Spica, which we got a big sky. Maybe we'll take a look. Where's Spica in Sky Safari? Other side of the sky. And of course, there's nothing close to it. Well, there is. What's this little guy? An NGC. It's a galaxy. A whole bunch of galaxies over here. I don't know if I can see them. Magnitude 11. Not in these skies. An 8-inch telescope sounds really impressive until you start looking at obscure galaxies. Then it's really small. But we can get up near a cluster. M58. That one we'll be able to see, and there's a whole bunch of galaxies nearby. That might be kind of a fun one to check. So M58, let's go. With any luck, I'll get close. The alignment, actually, I'm gonna, since we're looking at Spica, I'm gonna set the alignment. Sync to target. So now we have to go find Spica again, which it looks like it went off the top. There it is. And we're just going to center that. And what this scope can do is it can align it. If you have a known target and you center that, it'll align it for you. So we'll get it roughly in the center of the screen. That looks pretty good. Boom. And now it's synced, so it is relatively accurate. Select and slew, deep sky, back, Messier, 58 we said. Looks like Treeville. Yup. Yup. Nice try. We'll go back to Spica. See what we can find that's nearby in Sky Safari. Apparently I ventured a little too far. Let's see what's east of Spica. Oh yeah. Yeah. Just to the left. Oh. Looking for some good candidates here. Where's Devil's? There's Spiker. So we got a big sky here. And I got a big area that's free and clear. But I don't want to go too far up because we'll miss it. Well, we can check on M5 again. Since that's a known quantity, I don't really want to go there for a second night. How about NGC 5921? That's a galaxy. Ooh. There's a couple more that are close by. 5846. You guys can remember that. 5846. Okay, menu. It's a little dim, but we should be able to pick it out. Isn't that marvelous? Again, we use our finder technique by turning up the gain and getting our exposure up to a second or second and a half, whatever. See, we got a little drifting going on in the gears. I'm not even seeing the full screen. Not sure what that is supposed to be. See, when we turn up the gain, we get a whole lot of noise. So let's use our slewing capability to investigate the area. And I bet that's it right there. A little fuzzy blob. That's usually the way galaxies appear. Oops, wrong way. But galaxies are kind of neat because you can take pictures of them, and the more you take and the more you stack, the better off you are. So what we're going to do is bump that resolution up to, say, 8 bits. Yeah, we don't want raw 8. That'll be bad. And then we'll bump this resolution down a pinch. Let's see if we got it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's almost in screen, so we'll move the area of interest. And now we're doing roughly 10-second exposures, so it can take a little while. That'll probably be a really nice little one. You see this gray background, that's all the light pollution. So we could try a little fun here. There's a feature called live stacking, and I'm going to center this a little bit better. Let's turn that down again. It's right there. And see if we can get smaller images and more of them if we knock the resolution down a tad. have to move that down. So I'm keeping an eye on this star because I know that star is just to the southwest of where this galaxy is. And you know, this is small enough and the camera's capable enough, we could use binning. Do a 2x2 binning. Oops, that's a stupid resolution. And the binning is a way to use a block of, this is a 2x2 bin. It's to use all of those pixels to pick up what you need. So even though the image looks real small, you can use all of them to pick up the object and you'll get more sensitivity. So I think I'm going to bump that up to the top resolution, use the binning, and then it'll use more pixels to find that galaxy. And look at that, I got only 2 seconds and I'm still seeing that galaxy with clear stars and everything. And it basically is a way to enlarge your pixel area, as my understanding goes, which experts might not agree. Well, let's turn our gain down to something sane. 120 is supposed to be the unity gain where everything kind of here drops even, but we'll do, say, basically a 10-second image and see what we get. Enlarge our image a pinch. Now, last night I was taking longer exposures, and I think I got all the way up to about 40 seconds. This mount has some limitations to it. I'm going to have to pull up the gain a bit. Starting to see it again. Serial file. Fits. Let's pump this up, say to 20 seconds. Current gain, we'll see what we get. And this is without the focal reducer. So I get a nice even image, which is nice. But I have to expose it for longer periods of time, which is a problem with the mount. So mount's been pretty good overall, though. Yeah. bet I could do, if I did a 30-second image, 32 is fine. Boost that gain up a pinch. See what we get. Time for some refreshment. What am I sitting on here? There we go. And while we're waiting, we can fill in the blanks. 5846. So if we do happen to do a capture, we'll stick it in the right directory. Oh yeah, 30 seconds is way too long. Yeah, I'm probably only going to be able to do 20. And that probably is a factor of the binning. Maybe even 15, 16. But it means I'm going to have to sit out here and take more images to stack and add up. But it's still visible. See, we're looking for round stars, and the minute those stars are not round, then you're done for. A little bit of drift isn't a problem, but the oval stars are a big deal. Because everything will be fuzzy. I'm just kind of worried about that drift. That's not too bad now. I think what we're going to do is we'll take 5 minutes of these. Which is minuscule, but I'm not sure what I'm going to get. Oh, sorry about that. And if nobody else but me. Doug Bock is getting the whole crowd. Oh well, Doug's a good guy. But it sounds like a good time to record what we're doing here. So we have NGC 58, 58, 46, was it? 5846, yep. And we have no FR, 16.2 seconds of exposure, gain is 402. And we have binning, 3x bin. There we go. I said before, always record everything. If I can figure out how to turn this light off, that would be cool. It's got a neat feature where you just have to wave your hand in front of it and it magically goes off. But I don't know how, there's probably a manual someplace. Ugh, what happened? Icky drift. Not hitting anything. just did it again. Yeah, that's bad. Is it hot someplace? Change the counterweight a little bit. Maybe it's slipping. That's what it looks like. Yeah, I don't hear it anymore. Let's stop the capture. I'm not real happy with that anyway. And actually we gotta reduce this down, get it back in the screen. I think that's my only problem with this camera setup. The camera and the focuser are just so heavy. As much as I love the focuser, I'm beginning to wonder if I should have gotten it or not. Let's see when our next image comes in. It stopped slipping, so I think it was doing a little slip. Counterweight is necessary. And probably about 20 minutes, Matt should show up. It's a nice histogram, though. Looks like the tracking is a little better now. I think because of the angle, it's about 45 degrees up in the sky. And because of the angle, the weight of the telescope was having issues. Which probably could remount the telescope and push it a little bit more forward. Problem is the focuser weighs about a pound, pound and a half. The camera is another pound. And then with nothing else on the front, you can't really balance it as easily as it should. It's a problem. The fact you got a tripod means you can't balance it with all the junk on there and then the line. So how much is that pier again? Might just ditch the tripod and get a pier no matter what. For your viewing pleasure. I say I like the image quality of the without the focal reducer in there, but it's kind of a problem. Oh, I'm not taking a capture. I'm just okay. Well, let's move it down a pinch. Make sure it's actually moved down. That seems to be staying a little better now. Yeah. Okay. So we'll give that a second to settle down. And now we'll do our 5 minutes of, actually, put this back up. We'll do our 5 minutes of timed and see what we get. And actually, I should re-record that. So this is going to be 20.7 seconds. Gain is still 402. And 3 times bin. There we go. Welcome to astronomy. A lot of waiting around. It's a nice night though. Temperatures are decent. I think the cooler says it's going down. Temperature on. Yep, it's sitting at negative 15.4 Celsius. It's below ambient, so whatever ambient is. And that seems to be good. You can see there's no huge amounts of noise anywhere in the image. It's looking real nice. But once we get this little oval here is gonna pop out with stacking and other techniques. And we can always, combine images and stuff together. So it'll look nice once we get it processed. Probably won't look like much more than what it is, but it'll look like a puffier smear than a simple smear. But the focal reducer does make a big difference as far as the speed, and it kind of pushes the notion that maybe it's a faster telescope is in order. This telescope does marvelous things with planets and stuff. So when Jupiter, Saturn come out around midnight, which is about an hour and 15 minutes from now, they're going to look pretty spectacular. Or we hope anyway. Last night wasn't the greatest night. I had troubles focusing and stuff. And stars, use the Bahtinov mask for stars, galaxies, things that are essentially infinite away. But it doesn't work with planets because, oddly enough, they're too close, even though they're millions, if not billions, of miles away, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, this is tracking real nice. You can see nice round stars. 22nd with a 3-time bin. I tested last night and I got about 40 seconds before I got some smearing. So that's with the focal reducer. I'm not going to make it much past Jupiter and Saturn tonight, that's for sure. A few images of those, that'll be it. The way it goes. And with those, the idea is to take as many images as you can of the Jupiter and Saturn. The more you get, the more detail you'll catch. A totally different technique than this deep sky stuff. Which actually, this little galaxy is, I think they said it was magnitude 9 point something or other. So it's kind of at the dim side of, what I ought to expect to get out here in IPSC. IPSC has a lot of light pollution from Detroit, Hence the gray, and it's a problem sometimes. You have to work around it in post processing usually, or get light pollution filters, that kind of stuff. But the vignetting, I'm just not wild about that at all. Oh, there we go. It's our 5 minute. Let's do another batch of 5. What the heck? This thing is turning out pretty well, and it's tracking nicely now. So let's get another batch. We can always combine them. Might move to Matt's chair though. This thing gets hard fast. Can't slouch in this one. And I'm back on your screen. We'll see if anybody else is there. Nope. Nobody wants to be an orange can tonight. Oh well. They don't know what they're missing, huh, folks? I think this might be a better night than last night, actually. It's really still. Tom, do not turn on your light. That's really annoying. Yeah, right now I'm facing almost directly south. Telescope's pointing like slightly to the, I guess, southwest. Well, M5 is right next door to this thing, so we'll see with these settings. Maybe we can get a really spectacular view of the thing. Although with the binning, we're probably not going to get that much detail. Ooh. What is that thing? Bright nebula. Doesn't look like any nebula. Yeah, the southern sky is kind of bare in this area right now. Wi-Fi disconnected. Jesus Christ. There's a straight west. It's got tons of them. Arcturian's chain. I think if we got after Virgo, we really need to be down further in the driveway. North. Heart and Soul Nebula. And these are all in the Milky Way. Yeah. How many more frames we got? Oh, did it already stop? Yep. Capture start while I stopped while I'm there. Well, let's move over to M5. And since we got a couple of these things already, let's cut our exposure down a couple seconds. Kick up the gain. And move over to M5. See what the binning does with that. Okay. Do not see. Let's turn off the binning so we get a bigger image. There it is. That's pretty good with a 2-second shot. Let's see, this scope doesn't need that. That's a 2-second shot, a shitload of gain. Turn the gain down. Get, say, a 4-second shot. once again, we're at M5 because it's just a nice target to do. If we bump that up to like 5 seconds. Hey, Jim, how are you? Hey, Jim.
Hi.
Oh, let's turn up my volume a little bit. How are you this evening?
I'm fine. Got to figure out how to get, oh, continue. Okay, there it goes.
Well, I basically have been, last night I was out, I had the focal reducer on, and it's a f6.3 focal reducer, and I got some nice shots and all that, but the vignetting on the thing is just terrible. So it's like, there's got to be a better way to go about this.
Okay.
And this is M5 right now,
All
and
right.
this is without the focal reducer. I got a 5-second exposure, and I'm doing a 3x3 bin at full resolution, resolution. But
Okay.
full resolution. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the histogram is looking decent, and there's plenty of detail there.
Yes, there is.
I think I'm going to take a nice little capture for 5 minutes or so and see what it does. This tracking is pretty decent right now, but I'm not getting any of that circular haze that I normally get. So that's a plus in my book.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get, well, you're talking about filters. Do you have a filter on the thing?
I do not. This is all native.
Okay.
So I'm feeling pretty good actually about that. And when that stacks, that's going to look fantastic. I got, actually, if you don't mind, this is the photo. Oh, it's not that photo, but this is the one I took and processed last night, which I had
All right.
troubles with focus last night, but you can see the vignetting is still around the edges here. I kind of cropped out the bulk of it, but focus is kind of crap on this one. Whereas tonight I had time to do the Batinoff mask, and it's looking a lot better actually. I mean, just that is much better. But field of view, I'm not noticing a vast amount of difference for this object anyway. If there was big galaxies like the Andromeda or something like that, I think I'd say to hell with it and just take a mosaic.
You would have to. I don't think you're seeing enough sky there to get the Andromeda galaxy.
Yeah, well, it's not up, and I have a big tree off to my immediate left.
Okay.
The poor telescope keeps wanting to align on Vega because it's such a bright star, and early in the evening and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, that's not gonna work. But yeah, I'm gonna record my settings here before I forget. I'm kind of I keep a small notebook. I don't know if you can see this.
A little bit, yeah.
It's just a simple muleskin, notebook that I keep with all the settings that I use and on various objects and stuff. And I find that you go back and it's like, what exactly did I do to make that turn out as well? Now the gain is set at 481 right now, which I'm not. It's usually a lot lower, and like I think the what do they call that? The it's like the optimum gain is like 120 or maybe it's 220. So this is like double of what that optimal setting is. Come on, there we go. Ugh. I love the little headset light. It's Orion, and it cost me. It's $35 for a red flashlight, but it has this nice feature that it has a motion detector in it, and you just wave your hand and it turns on. Sounds great. How do you turn it off? I can't remember ever. So I got this stupid red flashlight on me all the time.
Yeah, well, those headlamps, you know what us visual observers call targets.
Yeah. Well, it's got, if I don't use the motion detector, it's got 4 settings, and I like the dimmest one, to tell you the truth. The
Yeah.
others are just like glaringly bright. And you can point this one down toward whatever you're looking at so you don't shine people in the eyeballs.
Sure.
But well, as far as the VP discussion and all that, I appreciate everyone's I don't know, appreciation maybe. I forget how I worded it this morning, but it's kind of flattering and humbling at the same time.
Yeah, well, it really is a big deal for the club that you were able to step up and do this. You know, John Goslin was after us for years to at least record the meetings, the speakers, and put them up online. But nobody ever wanted to do it. And now we have to, or there's no club. So,
Well, I kind of looked at it, you know, it's like, like you say, is like, well, without the meetings and all that, and we can't do the outreaches, what do you got left? You got a collection of guys that used to hang out together
yeah,
and can't really do much. So it seemed like this Zoom thing, or, you know, Blue Jeans, whatever we're going to try out, that was kind of the way to go. And I had access to a license and just did it. It's just a
yeah, no,
solution. So, but I think recording the meetings is a good idea. In with the GLAC group, the Warren, Ford, and GM 7 ponds, they all have archives of speakers and talks they've done. So in that respect, we're a little behind. I think we're one of the more active clubs in the area anyway. As far as I can tell, we do a lot of observing for sure.
yeah. The you know, before you joined the club, we, you know, only had so much energy to do things.
Yeah.
And we always chose in favor of whatever included observing. You know, public nights, you know, sessions at libraries and recreation centers and science.
Yeah. Well, I did just a simple presentation on the, you know, basics of this astrophotography, which
Right, I remember.
now I realize is completely like, wow, I really didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
Well, that's okay.
But the seniors that were, I think we had about 15 people at that one in Heartland in their library. And it
Okay.
was a good talk. I had a good time. And of course, you know, I think it was a month or two later, right around this time, actually, I think the June speaker last year bailed, and we ended up using me. And I just gave the talk again, and of course, our guys were, you know, nailing me on all kinds of details. So it's like, well, I kind of expected that. I was a lot more nervous presenting to the lowbrows than I was to the seniors.
Yeah, but you know, it's been a long time because part of it is because Dave Jorgensen has so many connections, especially at Wayne State. He can get all these really great astronomers to come and talk to the club. And, you know, before Dave joined the club, we had this whole boatload of people that were, you know, we could count on every, you know, 12 to 18 months to come and talk. But we had a regular group of, no, I can't call it a group, you know, 2 or 3 members who would give talks. Mark DePrest, who you may or may not have met.
I don't know if I met him in person. In person, I'm a little behind, but their email addresses or, you know, discussions that come on, I recognize the name.
Yeah, well, you know, Mark had some health problems and he's better now, but you know, he's a sibling in this huge family, and you know everybody's getting older, and
Yep. Yep.
one of the parents is still alive, so you know there's a lot going on there. His wife isn't very healthy, and so
Yeah.
he's got a full plate and doesn't get out nearly as much as he used to. But but he used to give, you know, great presentations. You know,
Hmm.
he I remember one, it was SLU was like the first to rent a telescope over the internet. And are you familiar with SLU?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, there are other services, but
Yeah.
this one, you know, you get pay a monthly fee, and you have so much time on their telescopes, and you sign up for it. And when I was doing it, there was couple of telescopes in the Canary Islands, for example, and they were working on opening up an observatory in Australia and another one in Chile, but I lost interest. But anyways, he gave a talk on that and what he was doing, and you know it's like running Brian's remote observatory.
Yeah. Well, for the astronomy at the beach, I'm hoping that Brian will do an hour or something of his just star hopping around. That's an amazing setup that he's got.
Well, it's it's always been a pretty crackerjack arrangement, but since he put in that plane wave mount,
Oh yeah.
that is spectacular, and there's nothing else like it in the club. I know there's a guy in the Ford Club that has one, but those are the only two I know of that.
Well, they're really, I mean, they're impressive mounts.
Yeah.
All on their own. I'm going to do one more session of this. This is looking so clear and nice. I think it's going to make a spectacular picture. I use AstroPixel processor, APP,
Okay.
and it excels at pasting mosaics and stuff together. So you can take up different sessions from different nights and it'll align the stars. I don't know what magic it does, or there's probably some alchemy involved somewhere, but it just does a spectacular job. And I have my mount is an azimuth mount, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. It's not an equatorial.
No, altitude azimuth. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stumbling tonight. So I have limited exposure times and things like that. But when this thing gets on, if you have something that's, I mean, right now I think the M5 is only about 45 degrees up or so. But if you've got something near the zenith, the rotations are crazy, and most of the software it just flails and burns. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I have Deep Sky Stackers, the one I tried with M57, which at the time was overhead, and I had star streaking. It was like a stone skipping. It was horrible. And AstroPixel processor basically is like, well, it's doing a pretty good job. Let's see what it does with this garbage and see if it can figure anything out. It was perfect. I I actually, it's one of my prized pictures because it came out so well. Yeah, this one. That is, and you
Yeah,
can
that's
see.
M20, it's M27. It's the dumbbell, right?
Yeah. Did I? Oh, yeah. I did say 57, didn't I? But you can see the rotation that it had to deal with. And
Yeah,
I think it tapped into the mosaic builder aspect of the package. And it's like, oh, I can align on these stars. And it just pieced everything together. And I mean, this is the most color I got out of any of the things. I think in one of these things, I've got the original. Yeah, that's the deep space stacker, its attempt at it.
yeah, okay.
The nebula is not bad, but these stars are just almost ridiculous.
They are, yeah, you're right.
It's just like, yeah, that's not acceptable. But with this other package, yeah, that's what my setup basically looks like. Just so you
Okay,
know.
yeah. Well, you said it was orange can, so
Yeah,
was that an ioptron?
yeah. This is an Ioptron AZ Mount Pro.
Okay.
This is the ZWO 294 MC Pro camera, cooled, and good old Celestron. You can see the Next Star 8SE right there on the side. So
Yeah.
that was what the original mount was, which I found out later that the 8-inch scope was just a little heavy for that single arm mount, which I think I got a picture of it.
If you wanted to do anything but observe, yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, for visual observing, it's fine. That's still the yeah. This is the original orange can,
Yeah.
which it for doing simple stuff for planetary, it's just fine. But this is an 1.5-inch tripod, whereas the Ioptron's got a 2-inch tripod. The
Oh, wow.
Ioptron's got just a single axis, but it's got the counterweight and everything that kind of helps everything out. Yeah, that's a good picture. The counterweight you have to use because the scope here is like 12 pounds, and it's like I don't want the whole mess tipping over.
Yeah, no, you'd need a bigger bearing if you were going to go without a
Yeah,
counter.
and even right now, this earlier today, I didn't have the counterweight put forward quite far enough, and it was slipping on the clutches. So this is the neat thing about the mount, though, is that the mount itself is just set on top of these little, the tops of these bolts have got little nubbins on them. And you put it on there and you basically level it from those bolts. And
Okay.
then after you get it leveled, then the center stack, you can tie it down, check the level again. And
Oh, all right.
once it's perfectly level, then you hit the power switch here, and it does everything for you.
Okay.
It basically, comes up and asks you, is like, well, is this a good alignment star? Yes or no. And if it is, then it goes and center it, press enter, and you're done. Like tonight, this is a single star alignment, and it's been running for probably over an hour without any adjustments at
Okay.
all. I'm very, very pleased with the mount. Okay. So it's the equipment I got, and I know it's not great for doing deep sky, but I'm getting results with it. So
You know, um, not all of us have as deep a pockets as Brian Otto.
no, and I
And,
don't think Gretchen is going to let me do that anytime soon. So
yeah. And, Ani is in another class even from Brian. I'm sure Brian could do a lot of the stuff that Ani does, but Ani manufactures a lot of the parts for his mounts. And
well, he's got an Ioptron. It's a
he's got
25P.
he's got an equatorial.
Yeah, it's basically equatorial version of this, and he's brought it over here before, and we tested out everything. Is frankly, it does a marvelous job, and as an equatorial mount, that's damn easy to use. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the only one I'd even consider, because it's got a built-in polar scope. It's got the alignment software. It basically walks you through a polar alignment, even if you can't see Polaris. So
Okay.
it's an impressive little scope, and I was impressed with the service, the sales and service people at Ioptron. I mean, I was sending them emails for probably a week, and they were just going back and forth and answering every question I can and adding little things. Oh, have you thought about this? What have you got here? Because this will be a good feature. And I mean, they help sell their own equipment, but they answered all these questions. I hadn't bought a thing. And
Yeah.
not to mention that they were instantly responsive. I had a problem with the firmware once where the scope was just doing bad alignments, and they says, well, we've had a couple of reports of this. It's not common, but here's a fix that we did. And they sent me a file, and it's like, told me exactly how to load the firmware, which was right in the
Okay.
manual. But it says load this version up. It's a tweaked version of our current one, but it takes care of occasional problems. And maybe you've got a set of trees and other things that puts it in this weird condition that it just doesn't work as well. It's like, no, it could be.
Yeah. Well, this is Southeast Michigan. People have trees.
Yeah, yeah. We have trees, we have humidity, we have all kinds of other fun things going on. I mean, I don't make any apologies for it. I do it from my driveway because it's easy. I haul up my stuff, unpack, and I'm up and ready to go. There's no driving, and yeah, it's not ideal conditions. So when I do go to someplace that's got no obstructions or no light pollution, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You ever look at the images that are in Sky Safari?
Yeah.
Well, a
Last
lot of
night. Oh, go ahead.
a number of them were shot by Robert Gendler,
Okay.
and he's at least my age. He might be older, but for a long time, he was shooting film um, from his garage just outside of Boston. He'd roll it, he had a wheelie bar thing
Right.
and he rolled it out onto his driveway, and he shot all these wonderful, spectacular deep sky photos from his driveway.
I
So I'm not at all surprised that you're getting results.
Well, it takes a little more post-processing time, and the light pollution, the
Yeah.
APP has got an excellent function for getting rid of light pollution. Brian's given me some techniques in Photoshop to help do the stretching a little bit more.
Okay.
I've kind of APP has a nice tweaking section. It's a little bizarre. The guy's German, so I don't know, or Dutch or something. It's a little different take on things. The light pollution one is interesting because they have you basically give the algorithm hints by drawing rectangles in places that, okay, this is a clear spot. Try to model this, look for this, and then turn the other stuff into that. And it gives you a chance to put, as many of the rectangles on the screen as you like, but the model basically reads those conditions, builds its strategy, and then applies it to the whole picture. And it's done some amazing things. I mean, that no, I don't have it up still. The vignetting and all that is just, and the light pollution was just terrible after the stack. And it's like I got this fuzzy or foggy donut in the middle.
Yeah.
And that M5 that I showed you on this page, that used to have a ring of fuzz around it, and APP got rid of it. And I
Okay.
just, it's amazing. I can't expect any better, especially given the conditions. This is the first time I've really used binning on this camera, and I'm impressed that, I mean, after a 5-second image, that I'm seeing color in the stars. I mean,
Mhm.
blues and oranges and a couple of reds here and there, but in a raw unstacked image to get color is like, well, that's impressive. That's going to look really spectacular when I stack the damn thing.
Well,
I'm just kind of running the 5 minute stack as we go. I was like, if I'm going to be chatting, what the heck?
yeah.
I have a friend that's on his way over. He's going to join me because he basically, I think he nearly passed out uh, listening to my jibber jatter last night. He was tired. And so he bugged out around 11:30 or so, just before I got Jupiter and Saturn came up. So he's going to come back over here and catch the late show.
I see.
I feel a little bad because he found out this morning. Everybody's working from home, but they told him that he's basically been let go from his job. So it's like,
Well,
yeah,
that's
I'm gonna
harsh.
be out. Come on over, have a drink on the driveway, But yeah, it's a good night, and like I say, I got the focusing to work. Last fall is when I got this 294 camera, and I kind of looked around and looked around. It's like, this is a cool camera. It was $1,000, but it's like, this is gonna grow with me for quite some time. And so far, it's come in it's come in with flying colors for deep sky. It's
Yeah.
total shit for taking pictures of Jupiter. Which I thought would be like, well, how can it be bad? It's, well, the pixel size is huge. Um, I think it's like 4 microns versus most of them are like a micron and a half to 2. So it's got nearly double the size pixels, but it makes them super sensitive. So doing this kind of work here in crappy skies, it's going to pick up. And I figure it was well mated to my conditions and my mount, since if it's super sensitive, then I don't have to take as long exposures, which won't affect my mount. Because the mount is good. I tested last night, and the best I could do is about 35 to 40 seconds before we got severe star smearing on a regular basis. Um, I've gone about 33 regularly without too much problem, but tonight it's not going to happen. I tried it, and at 20 seconds it was crazy. But that might be the focal reducer. That could probably be part of it. Which,
Possibly. I think that to take longer shots you would have with the equipment you have, you'd probably have to be on an equatorial mount.
yeah, and I accept that, but it's one of those things where, well, how far can I push this thing, and
Yeah.
how much can I see with it? And I I have to do different things than other people do, and I have to thumb my nose at some advice people give me. But at the same time, it's like, I'm getting results. It tracks very accurately. I mean, you're seeing round stars here. I
No,
could
it
bump
looks
that
good.
up. I could bump that up significantly as far as exposure time. I mean, this is only, it's just a hair under 5 seconds, and I could go to 10 or 15 easily right now, and it'd be the same result. So, but I'm happy with these images. Those are looking nice. Oh, it already finished. Okay. Yeah, so I probably got a few hundred frames. That should be plenty to do a stack with. But yeah, I've danced around. The first ones I did, I had it was a total shit camera. Nowadays, I found out that this camera they use for auto guiding, and it's not good for anything. The noise is unbelievable, but for planetary, it worked just fine. And I kind of cut my teeth with I think at the time it was 150, but it's gone down to like $110 or something. Super cheap
Right.
camera. ZWO was, I think, a 120 MC, but it allowed me to kind of get used to what a real camera is supposed to do instead of one of those, I guess, warmed over webcams that people used to use.
Yeah. Although those old Philips webcams did some pretty nice work.
When it comes down to it, it's the chip that does it, really.
Yeah. But the
They
fella,
have,
I don't
oh,
know
go.
if, gosh, trying to remember his name. It's been so long since John is his first name. Anyways, he sold all the astronomy equipment at Writer's Hobby Shop.
Oh, I think I bought both of my telescopes. I had an 8-inch Dob before this, and actually 3 telescopes, the 4-inch Next Star, and then the 8-inch Next Star. I bought all those at Riders.
Okay.
I wanted to keep the money local,
Yeah.
and they don't care. It was like, we match the internet price. It's like, if you can do that, I'm not going to pay. I don't have to pay shipping.
Right.
And, drop ships of crap coming in all the time anyway, so it didn't make a difference. And it might have been John that I dealt with, but they had a nice shop there. I
Yeah.
was really kind of sad when they had to close.
Yeah. Anyways, he had a 9.25-inch Celestron,
Mm-hmm.
and he his thing was the planets, Jupiter and Saturn,
Right.
and he took wonderful photos of those. And
It's funny. I got into the photography simply because I wanted to show people what I was looking at. And it turns out, and I found out pretty quick thereafter, that it's like taking a picture of stuff in the skies. It's not just taking a snapshot. Yeah, it's dark, but that complicates a lot of things.
no, there isn't an iPhone yet that can do what you're doing now. So
There's a guy online, Lauren Bell, I think is his name.
okay.
And he's an asteroid hunter, and I think he's actually got a couple of them named after himself. But or named, or he discovered anyway. But he does everything on I think it's an iPhone 8 or something, and it does okay. But he doesn't get into any of the stacking or stuff like that. And I think that's magic. I've seen total garbage go in, and you stack it, and it brings out details that are unbelievable.
Yes.
I wonder if I have that photo. I did a posting anyway. No, I didn't. Oh, it's in a different album. Sorry. How do I get back? Silly things. Hey, who would do a site where all your navigation is at the top? It doesn't. Okay, fine. Got an album of moonshots, and one of them is it's very cool in that it'll show you with the unstacked and the stacked version. Did I put it in? I did not. I got enough moon pictures where they kind of have to have their own album, but well, that's the stacked version. I might have posted this one to the lowbrows, but
Yeah, I think so. It's a great photo.
I have one that was just like, after stacking, this is what you get. Oh, cool. And then I have the second photo, which is something like this, which is like, oh wow. And when you flick between them, it's a little overexposed. When you flick between them, it's just, it drops your jaw. And then it's fun when you're doing it, because you never know what you're going to get, what Christmas present, is going to land in your lap.
Sure.
So I have a lot of fun with that stuff. And I've finally gotten in the habit of labeling my things, so I know what the heck I did with, exposure times and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway. Oh, there is. I didn't have that before. Yeah, he said he was on his way, but like, you don't live that far away, dude.
Okay.
Well, he's over. I think he said it's like Stone School in Eisenhower, and I'm in Ipsy. It's like, what are you? Are you walking?
Well, if he was walking, he might not get there. So,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. He's an interesting character. Kind of looking in the trees to see if Jupiter or Saturn are going to poke out. It's still about a half hour away, though. Half hour, 40 minutes.
all before you'll be able to see him.
It was embarrassing last night because I'm looking out and it's like in Sky Safari show me Jupiter, Saturn, they're just peeking over the horizon. Like I've got houses and trees, and it's like I'm not going to see those for another hour or more. I figure it's going to be close to 1 o'clock in the morning before I see him. And
Mhm.
Gretchen comes out, it's like, well, I don't think she's got Sky Safari. It's a different program. It's like I'm showing it like, and I think it's right there, and there's this V in the tree line.
Ah,
I'll be damned, it's Jupiter shining it, like, oh, the total, I don't give a crap about any of this stuff is pointing, objects out to me because I missed it. But I did a quick change on the cameras to the planetary camera, and I got some shots, but the focusing situation was so bad and they were so low in the sky that it's like it was kind of hopeless.
yeah.
But
Well,
I got my first pictures of the year of Jupiter and Saturn.
they're not going to get that high up anyway. So,
Yeah, this is not a great year for those. Well, Matt better get here soon because I'm gonna fall asleep. Yeah, I decided to start a little later tonight because last night I was set up and ready to roll by 9, and the sun was still out. Basically, it's like, well, we got nothing to do. There's no alignment that's ever going to happen. But let's see if I can. Yeah, pick a different. We'll pick a different target in the southern sky and see what I can get. I don't think my alignment is perfect, so there might be a little bit of slewing around, but it's pretty close.
well, I'm looking at Sky Safari
I got it up. Got it up myself.
and and the planets are still below the horizon.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was, well, she noticed it was 12:30 last night. And last night actually I tried, and I didn't try it for very long, but it was just above Antares, and it's a nebula of some sort. Rho Ophiuchi,
Ophiuchi. Yep.
and it's like it says it's a magnitude 5.1. It's like, well, I should be able to catch that.
Yeah, but it's degrees in expanse, so it's
But
yeah.
I figured catch the upper end of that thing. That's blues, and usually I had a filter on that was doing well with it. But what's the I? It's got a number on it, doesn't it? IC 4604. 4604. I should be able to pick that out. Her famous last words. I love being able just as like, I want to go see this now. Beep, beep, beep. 4604. Go show me. And smack in the middle of the tree. And I think that's going to be the case. Yes. Well, okay. Sky Safari, let's pick again. There's a bunch of stars off to its right. I know there's some galaxies. There's a expanse of nothingness over there. Trouble with clusters, after you've seen one, you kind of seen them all.
Well, there's,
Ugh, I never get that in.
I've looked at a lot of them, and well, there's M13, which is in a class by itself,
Yeah.
Northern Sky, but M5 and M15 are both and M22 are all three of them are spectacular, and they're all very different.
Planetary nebulas. It's like I'm the southern sky now. I'm looking, it's like it's just a bunch of stars and a bunch of things that are beyond my telescope or
Yeah.
viewing situation for that matter. That's kind of the depressing part about Ypsilanti is like it's pretty bright. And because of the trees and the houses, and I mainly have like a sometimes southeast, sometimes southwest, depending. I probably should set up further out in the driveway to get a little more direction east and west.
Yeah.
I did notice though, I found that region of the Virgo, the cluster. Oh my God, there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know it was that populated. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And going north into Como Berenices, there's tons of galaxies up there.
Yeah, that's my other problem with this site is that I don't have a good northern view. My house, and we have 100-foot oak trees in back of us. So if I look back at the house from the driveway, I see nothing.
Ah,
I have lots of trees. They're pretty.
okay. Yeah, I got lots of trees here too. And when I first got into this, they weren't nearly as tall.
Well,
And
I'm
so
kind of noticing that now is, these trees, they used to be a lot more view here, and it wasn't quite so bad. And we'll see. Oh, that's zenith. I'm never going to catch anything up there. One thing I have noticed, this mountain doesn't do real well at the zenith. That's a problem area.
it's a problem for almost every mountain.
Really? I was
Yeah.
figuring the equatorials would do a little nicer, but
They do, but it's
still problematic.
yeah, it's still a problem. And when you go from east to west, you've got to flip the telescope, and so there's all sorts of
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I wasn't real wild about the equatorials is that meridian flip thing.
yeah.
That's kind of crazy. There he is. Turn off your headlights, dude. Please. Heading for M12. Let's see what we got.
It's a nice object.
What's that?
M12 is a nice object.
And yeah, my tracking isn't great. Well, alignment isn't perfect anyway. It's been a little off tonight anyway. Let's turn that down so I can see something. And I found out earlier that my laser finder or whatever there is, the battery was dead, and I don't have any replacements. So we're winging it. Hey, Matt.
Hey. You streaming?
Yeah, I am. This is Jim Forrester. He's one of the lowbrows. The guy in the dark is Matt Hignite, right?
Hi, Matt.
Ignite, yep.
Hignite. Kind of like stalagmite, you know?
Yes.
Let's get
with an ancient form.
rid of the binning.
Yeah.
Get full image.
That's scratching in bed.
Yeah, she hit the hay.
Got an extra chair over there?
It's a stool, but why don't you take the chair?
Oh, sure. No, I can get the other one.
Nah, yeah.
I'll get one.
Just take it. I got this one out for a reason, Matt.
Okay. So how's your night going?
Oh, trying to find M12. It's another cluster. We were on M5 for a while, and it literally minutes before.
Yeah.
This is kind of annoying, Jim. Embarrassing too.
Yeah. Well, if I was out there, I'd find it with my telescope in about 30 seconds, but
Well, when this thing is aligned, the alignment tonight, it just didn't go real well. And it's okay, but it's not fabulous. Most of the time it's right on the money and I can go all night and it's fine, but
yeah, you don't have a
it's,
finder scope on that thing, do you? Because if you had a finder scope, you'd be able to find it.
well, normally I got the little laser pointer and it's fine.
Oh, okay.
One of those, I don't
Yeah.
like it that well, but it gets me around the sky enough where if something is missing. Wow, it's really off. So I should see that. Hey, that was a skeeter. And I keep looking out for Jupiter. I'm not going to be fooled again.
No, it's right on the horizon, so it's going to be tough.
And I got everything turned up. I don't remember that one being particularly dim, though.
12? It's
Yeah.
not.
It's like it normally should show up pretty well. Schwang.
6.69, so
Yeah. Generally, anything over 9 or 10 is a kind of a stretch here. So you're not going to see the contrast.
yeah.
Let's go back to where it thinks it is. Okay, I don't see any light bars in the sky, so what is that?
Airplane?
It must be. I'm not seeing it. Not seeing it anymore. Well, let's see. It was off that way. And I don't have it set super fast. Last night, one of my images, one of those Jack Brisbane tuned in for a few minutes, and we caught one of those Elon Musk satellites coming through my photo.
Oh, that's cool.
All of a sudden, the image that comes by has got a large streak through the middle of it. Like, well, I guess that one's not going to be a keeper.
Yeah, there were a couple of those earlier I saw go by.
Now, this is one of those areas where the focal reducer would be handy because it covers a lot bigger swath of the sky. Well, if I ever find it, I'm going to do a sync to target. Well, tell you what, I'm going to go back to M5 because it should remember where it found that. And I'll figure out where that is. And see
There you
now.
go.
This is M5, Matt, just so you know. That's what I took a picture.
That's
This is
so cool.
This is live right now, so.
Wow. Yeah, like oh, started out. That's crazy.
What I'm going to do, Jim, is to do, they have a feature on here called Sync to Target.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you can basically center the target and give it's like a quick alignment.
Right.
I don't know if your scope does that or not.
Well, Sky Safari does.
Okay.
You can only do that so many times before I want you to realign all together.
Yeah. Well, with this camera, it sticks out so far that it bumps up against the tripod if I do an alignment. So it's like, take everything apart and now do it. Okay, and it's going to probably have, oh shit, I forgot. The software's not bad on the iOptron, but I always forget for the sync to alignment that you have to go find the object first and then bring it into your view, and then you can tell it's aligned. You
Right.
can't go the other direction. It messes up all the time. But that's a nice image. Oh, it's got the gain turned up. Okay, just about there. Boom, sync. So now let's see if we can find M12. That usually works better after that. Slewing. And look at that, right on the money. Oh, it was. Oh, dang. I thought that was a shadow of M5. Well, poopy. Apparently it needs an alignment, which means Jupiter is going to be a hell of a lot of fun to find.
Yeah.
Let's reduce this down. Magnitude 5, I should be able to find that. Pretty easy.
Well, what's the,
Hey, we got something moving across. Yeah, Matt.
Oh, cool. Satellite? And Elon Musk?
I don't know. Musk. It might be one of Elon's satellites. What do you think, Jim?
That's cool.
I have no idea. There's a lot of satellites up there. You have to figure it out with
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Sky Safari.
Well, my telescope does have the functionality to control or have Sky Safari control it, but the wireless signal I have in the house is strong enough where it basically competes with the Wi-Fi in the telescope mount, and they fight with each other, and so neither one of them connect worth a damn. So like, well, that ain't gonna happen. And I might just have to do an alignment.
Yeah, if you want to take a picture of anything but M5, you might.
Yeah, it can find M5. That's it. You're done. Well, we're going to get around to Jupiter time here soon. I might just unplug this thing, do an alignment visually, and go from there. Well, the Jupiter Saturn, you're not going to get any pictures with this camera, so. I think
What
I'm
kind
gonna
of camera do you need?
the one that's in the case. The other camera.
Of course.
I'm gonna switch out cameras now, Jim.
Okay.
Just so you know, I'm not ignoring you.
Shopping for speakers. For my giant receiver that I got.
Some bozo unloaded it on you, you know.
I'm pumped that I finally have a space for it. Like I was like, this is worth something. Like I want to have it like be awesome somewhere. But my shed is too dirty, and I already have one in there. And I always want one in the house, but I finally figured out I can put it in my folks' basement or something. Or out on the porch. Or the hot tub, which would be kind of dope. So.
Okay. Better camera for doing other work, but I'm gonna do an alignment because we're not gonna see shit if we can't find it. It happens. Sometimes you have to realign. Okay. Should be easy to do an alignment now. Arcturus. You really want to do it on Arcturus? Crazy thing. I think that's going to be in the tree. Yep.
What choices does it give you for alignment stars? There must be something in.
Vega. Actually, Vega's visible now. Finally.
How about Rosselhag or Russell Getty?
Haven't.
Because they're right in that part of the sky.
Gotta go to the other side. I could look through the menu. It gives you quite a few usually, so that's usually not an issue. Okay. And of course.
Actually, Russell Getty is a pretty nice double star. It might make a good picture. I don't know.
The other fun thing is that the cameras use a little different focal point or focal distance, whatever they call that. And I end up having to barter out my primary mirror to get stars to appear as anything but a donut. It'd be nice just to swap them out and go, but that ain't the case. Kind of thought Vega would be a little brighter than that.
Are you sure you've got Vega?
Not particularly, but because my
If it's not bright, then it's not Vega.
yeah, it should be burning. There it is. I say it should be burning a hole in my cornea. Let's slow it down and get this. And that's pretty close to burning a hole in the cornea. You want to see a really bright star, Matt? This is a really bright star.
Okay. I'm not seeing much.
Well, it's that guy up there. Oh, okay. So step over here.
Okay.
Where's the glasses? There they go. And here's the eyepiece.
Take a look. I can really hear that motor.
Yeah. Those are the stepper motors there.
Oh dang, that's bright.
Yeah.
Is that Vega?
Yes.
Cool.
That's what Jim was saying. It's like, if it ain't, if it ain't super bright, it ain't Vega.
Have you ever seen Contact?
Yeah.
Man, that's what I always think of whenever I think of Vega.
When I think of Vega, it's that crappy car from the 70s.
Oh yeah.
My dad
Or
actually.
the Nova.
Novas were nice cars compared to Vegas, trust me. My dad owned the Pontiac version. It was crap.
Yeah.
We gave him crap for that for a number of years. I was like,
Well,
what
of course.
were you thinking?
I'm gonna get some. See my little jacket here.
Yeah, it's starting to get cool. Yeah. Well, now let's see how it does with M12. Is M12 really there?
Well, from Ypsilanti, it'd be tough to see visually.
Yeah. Well, I just did an alignment, and it's usually pretty good, so I'm going to stick a camera in. Because we're close to Jupiter time, I'm going to use the planetary camera. So for imaging, it's probably going to be total crap. And this one is the strangest camera because the lettering on the back of the thing is printed about 90 degrees from where you might expect the top of the image to be. So you end up like turning the thing because like, well, this is ridiculous. And I know it doesn't really make any difference, but it'd sure be nice if it was, reasonable. Oh yeah. Choose the camera. There we go. Yes, my camera seems to have stopped responding. I think we'll probably need more than 87 milliseconds. Reopening Sharp Cap.
Brought snacks.
Snacks.
Some rubber
No.
chips.
I think I'm going to have to quit the program. Start Sharp Cap. I've noticed it doesn't like switching between one camera and another, even though they're the same brand. I think it gets confused.
That's nice.
Well, it's the same software for all the cameras.
Yeah, but it's like the parameters of the camera. I don't think they switch very well. Capture area. Let's see everything. Why is it not showing me anything? I'm not in a tree. Oh, I know why. Remember I said something about that primary mirror thing? And I'm going to have to refocus it too. I'm going to go back to Vega because that'll be a good focus star. Christ. There we go. Number 244. Ta-da!
Yep, there it is.
And let's get rid of the donuts. Am I going in the right direction? I never remember which way I'm supposed to go. You'd think by now I would. Oh, I didn't think I'd get diffraction spikes.
Well, that star's round.
I'm gonna turn this around so I can put the mask on. Turn the mask on and adjust the focusing. Come on. Stay. Okay. Well, that's a pretty strong spike.
Yeah, that's definitely a different shaped star.
Why is that so stiff? Oh. Which way am I going? This is just such an ingenious tool. I showed you this, right, Matt?
What?
The Botnoff mask.
Yeah, you did.
It with Vega being so bright, it's painfully obvious. Almost worth taking a quick snapshot of, actually, to show people. Quick capture. 1,000 frames. No, I'm not going to do that. That's not quick. Single frame. That's all you need. Boom. Okay. Well, let's get that thing off of there. Yowza. That's bright. Okay. Where were we? Oh, yeah. M12. It's all fun. I shouldn't need that. Oh. No? That's...
So how much sky are we seeing in this frame?
You know, to tell you the truth, I'm not real sure. Somewhere I've got it. I worked it out how much it is. It's, I guess it's a standard F10, 8-inch SCT worth, which I want to say is Oh, there we go. I think M12 just blew up. It's just not there anymore. Yeah, this is a little much. Yeah, see that? It just dies down. And with this, the gain as high it is, that should be like insane levels. I mean, even the stars are like, what heck? Start capture. It's like, am I missing something here? I wonder if that's if there's something going on with the camera itself, because Jupiter was extremely hard to get a good clear picture on. And I've taken pictures with all kinds of total shit cameras, and it's fine. Is that it right in there?
I simply can't be sure.
Yeah. Well, I thought I saw something over there, but this is going to take a while to, I mean, 20 seconds? This is a sensitive camera. It shouldn't be doing that. That's just weird. And I mean, I got the gain maxed out, so. Huh? It's just kind of insane levels of gain and you know what? You know, it could be SharpCat Pro. People have warned me that the recent version has some problems. People have actually been downgrading.
Oh, from the version you're running?
Yeah. Well, I did an upgrade, and it's like there's some times it's like maybe that wasn't a good idea.
But that shouldn't affect your pointing accuracy.
No, it's not doing that. But like here, see, like I got 4.3 seconds,
And there's no,
and for an 8-second picture of stars, are you kidding me? That's just odd to say the least. Oh, I see Jupiter.
Where? Is that it? Right there?
That bright thing in the V of the trees.
Yeah.
Guess
So
what?
bright.
Yep.
That's Jupiter?
Yep.
Dang. That's cool.
Guess where we're going?
Guess where we're going.
And I'm gonna find that sucker.
Sweet. Wow, it's so bright. It's crazy that it's like right there in the V, huh?
Yep.
It even shows up like on my camera, on my phone camera.
You know, I wonder if I. Got 2 USB ports on this thing, and I wonder if that's a problem. One of them does act flaky. I wonder if that's the issue. And I'm on the bad. Oh yeah, it's gonna be complaining. Whatever. When I changed cameras, I changed the port, I think. These technical issues.
If only there was someone who could do some tech support.
Yeah.
If only they were a developer or something. Oh gosh.
Okay. This. Yes. It's plugged in. Because Jupiter should show up very easily. And I'd kill for a finder now.
How you doing, Jeff? Hang in there.
Yeah.
Nice. A beautiful night.
It is.
Cannot wait. So where's Jupiter heading? Like in what direction is it going? Is it like
It's
going?
going to go up.
Is it going to go up?
Basically, it'll travel up to the middle of that tree or so, which is where our little tour will end.
Which is cool though. Never really sat and watched the stars move, you know? Not very much, anyways. Chill night.
You know what? We're going to do this visual because angles. This has got a wider field of view. And currently it's looking at trees. Slowly looking at trees. Get above the trees, hit the V, go back and forth until you see the real bright thing.
So it's on the piece you're on now, live feed, or is it pictures?
Oh, right now it's pointing up at the sky. Wrong direction, dummy.
Camera?
Oh, I don't have the camera plugged in. I'm looking through the eyepiece. Because apparently my tracking is just way off. Well, right now, I guess I could do a full alignment. Ah. That's Jupiter. No, that was a star.
So are you going to observe visually for a while, Jeff?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do this visual for a second before, so I can get the bearings, because frankly, it's just a mess. I may just do a realignment and say, the hell with this. Because this is not working well. I know visual isn't much fun if you're online.
Well, there is that. But, you know, when I align, I have to do a 2-star alignment, and I usually start with Polaris.
Yeah, in my case, I can't. There we go. That's Jupiter. Boy, that took a while. This thing was way off. It apparently needs more than just a sync. I'm gonna try a sync though. I don't dare do it now. I won't find it again. There we go. Okay. Leave it there. And now we're going to switch back to the camera. We're going to have to refocus. All that. I'm stepping on my cable. That's not good. Yeah, Jupiter. So basically go clockwise. This is crazy overexposed.
What's Jupiter doing?
Jupiter's
Oh,
here.
look at that. Holy crap, that's awesome. That's so cool. Wow.
We're going to get it focused here soon. It'll get cooler.
Nice. Let me go to the bathroom.
Okay. Actually, we got all 4 moons out too.
I saw some little speckles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to look up and see which ones are. Those are the 4 moons, the Galilean
Look
moons.
at that. That's incredible. Have you ever gotten that before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, whoa, look at it. Well, you can even see like the sort of flashing. That's incredible, Jeff.
Well,
Holy crap.
the flashing is due to the atmosphere being stupid.
That's so cool, man.
And that's overexposed too.
That's really cool.
Front door is not open. No, but you have to go through the garage.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, the gain is way high. It's like, what is on up this? Yeah, there we go. It's like, I seem to remember it was like 20 seconds or something. Yeah. Planetary, I don't know if anybody uses gain, but I found it to be a real pain. It makes everything super sensitive. That's still not really in focus, is it? I have some Barlows we could play with, since it's centered and still tracking pretty decent. Where's the flashlight? Three times. Got compression rings. Oh, compression ring stuff. 5. What were you thinking, Jeff? I'm going to put a 2.5 time Barlow on here. Well, it's bright enough where that should make for a nice looking image. I bought a couple of nice Barlows from High Point Scientific,
Okay.
and they have compression rings in them. And they weren't that expensive. I think they were like 35 or 40 bucks. It wasn't bad. Ah. Give a little better image on screen anyway.
Well, it's larger. There we go. Now we're starting to see occasionally a little bit of detail.
Yeah. I noticed today I think things are a little stiller than they used to be than it was last night. Last night it was just soup we're looking through. I don't think that's quite focused yet though. I'm just far enough where I have to keep getting up and getting down. I don't have motorized focus on this. It's the old-fashioned way. Light touch. Is it better or worse?
I think part of it is that you're only like 4 or 5 degrees off the horizon.
Yeah. Well, and I got 16. It was 8-bit, not 16. There, I don't have anything stupid set up. The 8-bit color always looks positively horrible. And I probably could dial this down a pinch, give us a little bigger image. Maybe not. That's a stupid resolution. They have some really strange combination resolutions here sometimes. Oh, where'd we go? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, dead center.
Let's see if we can do about this focus thing. Where's the knob? There it is. It's really not clearing up a whole lot, is it?
No.
If it keeps going like this, I'm going to get out my cheap camera. That took good pictures of Jupiter. Might be a pinch overexposed though. Well, I'll confess to being, yeah, it's pretty low in the sky, I think, too. That's not helping.
No,
Oh, pinching my pencil. I'm gonna- Still, and of course, Matt went to the bathroom. Yeah, it's pretty turbulent over there. Looking through a lot of atmosphere.
yeah, it, without having looked through your scope, but still, that low on the horizon, I just don't, even with my 12 and a half, I don't think I do very well. Of course, I can't get it that low, but
Yeah. The nice thing about Jupiter, though, is like you never have to take more than 3 minutes at a time.
yeah.
It has a built-in time limit. The first image, well, the first planet or whatever that I saw through a telescope that completely hooked me was Saturn. So it was just one of these cheap 60 millimeter department store telescopes that everyone warns you against. But my wife says, well, you've always kind of wanted one. Here's something to, dink around with. If you like it, we can always get a bigger one or something, better one, whatever. Didn't know anything about him. And as soon as I found Jupiter, it's like, well, that's kind of cool. Find Saturn, like, oh my God. And I've gotten some very good pictures of Saturn. But I don't think it's going to be this year. They're both super low in the sky.
Yeah, 20, 25 degrees, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, the scope's almost level.
Yeah.
If it's 20 degrees, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty low. Where did I get? Oh, a minute 30 left. It's not tracking terrible. A little jumpier tonight than I wanted.
Oh, since we're talking with one another. My wife's a retiree from the university, and she's got an email account up there. Is that good enough to use the
Photoshop license?
Well,
Or
any of that? Well, I was thinking the Zoom license, but
if she's got a login, that should be sufficient for for most things. I know, like the Photoshop license, I think the retirees are on a different track where they may have to pay something, but it may not be full price. They get like a discount, I believe.
yeah.
But I mean, you can check out. But if you can log in and you have to use their web login facility or whatever, then she's got a full U of M thing. And I think the Zoom, she may have abilities for that too.
Yeah, well, I was just, I had my own business. I didn't have anything to do with the university since I left school in the 60s. But so I only have so much access over there personally.
Yeah.
But I would need something like that so that if I was going to help with the meetings.
Oh yeah. I think just a login would do.
Okay.
So, I mean, you could probably use her login to
That's
do
what I would do. I would use Jenna's login and help out with the meetings, but
Yeah. I
because you're going to need a half a dozen people that know how to do this.
well, I frankly is like I'd like some backups if you're going to do it,
Well,
because there's I'm in bands and things, and the meetings are on Fridays, which if there's a Friday night gig, that means I need a replacement.
yeah, and that, and
It's really not that big a deal, and I know they've been saying to transfer to broadcast live on YouTube. Right now, I've been doing it basically through Zoom. There's you can tap into a live stream, and you can choose your service. There's a key you have to set up with YouTube. It's easy, and I got it to work, but you have to go through a program that's on your local PC to make it all start. So then to use that, because you're dealing with two services at once, you sort of need an Ethernet cable and a solid connection to make all that happen. And I just I think I'm just going to record to the cloud in Zoom. It's very fast, very efficient, and then I will upload it so people can view it and archive it, do whatever they want in YouTube. But to stream it live, I'm not sure it's practical. If there's a different way to do it, I'm open to it, but I haven't been impressed.
Yeah.
I see Saturn right around the bend. Well, I was hoping this year is going to be the year I'm going to catch Uranus and Neptune. But honestly, it's like this. This is an ASI 183. It's not quite their top of the line planetary camera, but it's a planetary camera, and it's got good resolution. I think it mates. The resolution mates up well with my scope, but like the last couple of tries, it's like, wow, it's been okay, but it's also sensitive enough that it did pick up, some deep sky stuff. So it's not a slouchy camera. It's just, I expected better from Jupiter, but it's so low in the sky, I probably shouldn't judge it on that.
No, you shouldn't. And, I can see some improvement, but it's slow.
Yeah, one thing I say, the 183 and the 294, they both top out at around 19 or 20 frames a second. So they're not super fast transfer cameras, but they were sensitive and very low noise. So I figured the low noise will help me with the light pollution and the other things, so that I'm not filtering out good or good stuff with the bad. Once you get rid of the fuzzies, then you're left with good stuff. And the 294 is actually an interesting camera. It's got a lot of weird characteristics that people write about in the forums and stuff, but the camera itself, most of the cameras have got 16 to 20,000 pixels deep in their pixel well. The 294 has 65,000. It's a complete monster when it comes to the pixel depth, which I thought in the light pollution environment that I'm in, that would probably be a good thing to have, because if you want to chop garbage out, well, I can collect a whole bunch of stuff, and so what if I toss out 3/4 of it? What's left is going to be almost, it's going to be the same pixel depth as if I had a normal camera. Mm-hmm. That's my thought, is like if 3/4 of this junk, I can throw out 3/4 and I'll still have the same amount of pixels, pixel depth and color resolution or whatever, that a normal camera might have. So that was my thought process. Ani has different views on some of its, and everybody has their own views. That's the fun thing about this, is like everybody's figured out something different, which I find modestly hysterical. I'm gonna have to pull this down a pinch. Oop, wrong direction. Yeah, last night the spot was over here. Now it seems to be right in this area. But see, without the Barlow, it's like, okay, it's in half, but you can't see nothing then. Your internet is unstable.
Well,
You're still there, right, Jim?
yeah, I'm here. I think your
Yeah.
cursor is
Ugh,
just
cloud going by?
red spot.
Well, the cursor's there, but no, the image got super dim for a second there. Like, well, I don't see no clouds around here. Not supposed to be cloudy. They need like a Botnoff mask for planetary. I've heard people play around with Botnoff masks for planetary, but it's kind of pointless because the planets are just big and too close. Which I tried, and yeah, I think they're right.
Well, when you put a fair amount of
That's the wrong
magnification
direction.
on the planets, you have to have.
So I'm been messing with the fine focus. It's like, well, maybe. Yeah.
Anyways,
We can pull the Barlow out of there. Let's try it. Hey, I'll drive you nuts sooner or later. Okay. Area of interest. We can turn down. It dropped the connection for some reason. You there, Jim?
I'm here, but and I can hear you, but there is no.
Yeah, it just dropped the connection on me.
Now you're back.
Yeah, it dropped the connection on me for some reason. Ended the meeting and everything.
So now you're overexposed.
Yeah, I turned it down earlier. It's actually not half bad.
There we go.
Picking up one of the moons over here, though. Yeah, it's really fizzy. I can see Saturn through the V in the trees. I'm going to do a quick 3-minute of this magnification, see what we get.
Sure.
I tried stacking some stuff from last night, and it was about the same here. I think it's just low in the sky.
I would
I
agree.
should watch out for that.
You know, I've had,
Jupiter's way up there, huh? Nope. How's it tracking?
Oh, it's doing real well. And tracking wise, it's fine.
you know, in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this, I've had exactly 2 nights where I could really bump up the power on the
Next year?
telescope.
Yeah.
And when you get an image this size at the eyepiece,
Oh, yeah.
it's like 400, 500, 600 power. And
How big a scope is that, though?
well, the night on Jupiter, it was
Stripes there.
4-inch
Spot.
Wow, look at that. Yeah, looks like a spot right there.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Wow.
Yeah,
Look
spot's
at
right
that.
there.
We're looking at it right now. That's insane. So cool. I can see the appeal. I get it, Jeff. I get it. I don't
Oh.
think I'm ever going to get
That
a
bright,
telescope, but
that bright thing to
to the
the
left.
left, that's Saturn.
Oh, really? Can we go there?
Yes, we can.
All right.
I got a capture going. When it finishes, we'll
I
see
have,
over there.
I'm willing to stay up as late as you are. So I'm down
Well,
for
it's
whatever.
1:45 now, so I didn't. I was out to. I stopped capturing last night around 2 a.m.
Mhm.
and I don't think I hit sheets until about 2:30. And I literally piled everything in the van, so I didn't break anything down. Yeah. Tonight I'm going to have to cut out earlier.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. No worries.
Yeah.
This is fun, man.
You found the bathroom okay? Hopefully.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Do you guys have a dog?
No. Big large cat.
That's it. That's the divider.
Oh, yeah.
Bone there.
Yeah, we have to. We put that up because Loki will chase around the senior cat rather mercilessly.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't understand his own size. Just so you know, Jim, we have a 20-pound Norwegian forest cat.
That's a big animal.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's going to be 7 in December. He thinks he's about 7 ounces, and he plays like a kitten.
Yeah.
So, you know, during the day you'll hear thump 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 thump. He's absolutely hysterical, and he's got fur that's so long it gets into everything. Okay, we're going to attempt to go over to Saturn, but I am not going to even bother with the tracking since it's been such a disaster tonight. We're just going to go the old-fashioned way. Slew left. I think I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to boost the resolution up so we can see it. And we'll boost the gain so that we can see whatever we need to that comes by.
Look, my hoodie in the basement.
Oh, you went all the way down to the basement?
Hmm?
You know, there was a bathroom right around the corner. You know, I'm never going to find this from here. That's still pointing away. This is a long ways away. Solar system. One more. Yeah, okay. Really want to see Saturn. Some kind of star.
Well, according to Sky Safari, it's 5 degrees to the southeast.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. If I had the damn finder, it'd be a piece of cake. You know, and I thought I had extra batteries stowed away, and apparently I don't. They're all dead. Ooh, what was that?
I'll give you something to do tomorrow.
I think that's it. Oop. That seems kind of small for Saturn, though.
Yes, it does.
You know, the first thing I'm going to do tomorrow is go out and buy a 2032 button battery for that damn thing. Okay. That's why we keep the eyepieces handy. There's some days this electronic stuff just kind of gets you, you know. Focus issues.
Well, Sky Safari is telling me that Saturn's 2.25 degrees above the horizon. So I can only wish you luck.
I can see it. It's as I mean it's well above the horizon. It's only slightly below Jupiter and slightly to the east. So I'm gonna go back to Jupiter real shortly here. And my tracking is so great. Didn't find that either. Okay. So now I'm going to go straight over to the left. I'm going to pretend like I'm a Dob user here. Use old-fashioned eyepiece methods.
Well, the night I was,
And there we go. Now let's center it so we can actually find it in the camera. See, that wasn't that far away. There's a reason I keep that 32 millimeter eyepiece around, man. It's a relatively wide angle eyepiece.
yeah,
And it's fantastic for doing like if you have to find a nebulas or something visually, it has enough light gathering power to really do the job nicely.
well, that looks like Saturn.
It does. A bit overexposed, but we'll fix that soon enough.
To finish my little story, there you are.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. The night I got to 450 on Jupiter, it was in a 4-inch refractor. And it looked like all the features of Jupiter were etched into the glass. And I had run out of eyepieces and Barlows and stuff. I couldn't, I could have kept blowing up the image, but I just didn't have anything left.
Were you in a really nice like clear sky area or?
No, I was on Peach Mountain.
Oh, okay.
It was in front of the observatory. And I was on Peach Mountain 2 or 3 years ago, and with the Dob, and I got hit up to almost 600 power before I ran out of eyepieces on Saturn.
Wow. I
And
mean, that's impressive because I mean, the skies can, well, like tonight, they can be really crappy.
yeah, no, they can,
With Saturn up now.
especially for the planets, and you're looking at the horizon. It's
I don't know where I
Whoa,
put.
that's awesome. That's cool.
I don't know where I put my Barlow lens.
Wow.
Oh, I put it away. Did I?
Nice.
Hope I did.
Cool.
Yes, I must have put it away, or it's rumbling around on the ground.
but and again, it was all the ring divisions were razor sharp, and
I've gotten some good images of Saturn, and if you don't mind, I can switch to those because one of them is really nice.
okay.
It hey, stop! All of a sudden, well, any of these really.
Yeah.
I mean, those have got good ring divisions. I think this is the one I liked because it just had good definition. There was clouds, the layers that you're starting to see,
Sure.
and it just turned out really well. And I think this was done on a fairly awful camera. It wasn't great, but yeah, this is the Jupiters I've gotten.
That's a nice photo of Jupiter.
Yeah, I got one that I caught the moon, a shadow of it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's this one. So here's the moon, and then there's the shadow on it. And it's a really cool picture.
Yeah.
But this was when the spot was kind of fading and whatnot. So.
But that's excellent.
Yeah, so I know I can take a good picture of Jupiter.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of these are early shots where I wasn't so good at it, but that was kind of cool because the moon was kind of that visual effect where it kind of looks like it's got a notch in there.
Right.
But it was right in the mirror. I think those are yeah, I got some sunspot pictures. And some, yeah. This is what the eclipse looks like when it's raining. But I took pictures like every minute or something, and you can see the graduation. It just got darker and darker, and we were literally in the cloud in North Carolina.
Wow.
The entire state was completely clear and beautiful. Everybody is enjoying it. Literally, 5-10 miles away, they saw beautiful views, and we were in her uncle's driveway. It was perfect. We had been watching it, progress over like an hour or two. And all of a sudden, clouds kind of rolled in, and we got this. It started to rain. I had to pull in all the equipment and shit. It's like, what's going on?
That's not.
And I'm like, well, this is just. And I have a friend that's in near the research triangle there, and she was like, man, it was beautiful views. And it's like, you weren't that far away. It's like, yeah, I know, it's about 100 miles away or something, but it rained. And she got real glum and it's like, you were in the cloud. It's like, I know. Thank you.
I think there are only
In the cloud, Jeff.
2 or 3 places that had lousy weather that day. You were in one, and
Yep.
Ken Rubel was in the other. He was near Kansas City.
Well, the good news was that her great uncle, we went down there because it was his place, and we needed to visit him anyway. So it's like, hey, if we time the visit right, we can catch the eclipse. And we bought him a T-shirt with the Great North American Eclipse and all that kind of stuff. Got him some sun viewing glasses, and well, that picture that that is there, that's Uncle Gil sitting out and enjoying. That's the first time he'd ever seen an eclipse, and so
Okay.
we had a great time until it rained. We proceeded to watch the rest of it on TV it was somewhere in South Carolina. But yeah, I keep those in the astronomy things. Like, this stuff can happen. It has happened. But yeah, you shrug it off and say that's the way it is. Part of the sport, right?
Yeah, no, Doug Scoble and I were in Southern Illinois with Mike Mead. He's a member who's an eclipse chaser.
Oh, one of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, he's been to Australia and a bunch of other places.
Uh-huh.
It was god awful hot. I mean, I was pretty stroked out by the end.
Yeah.
And I couldn't drive out of there, but Doug did. So he drove us all the way to Indianapolis.
Well, that eclipse though, is like we kind of looked around. It's like, well, it's raining here. We looked on the satellite, and because we're up in the mountains, and there's like little mountainy curvy roads, and
Yeah.
because everybody was there for the eclipse watching, all the highways were jam packed. We
Yeah.
couldn't have driven anywhere, so we were literally just stuck there.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, during totality, I pulled the filter off of the telescope, and the corona was the most beautiful thing I've seen in a telescope ever.
We're hoping that we can get down for the 2024 that it's in April, so there's like a 50-50 chance it's going to be total shit weather.
Well, you have to go to Texas to improve your.
Yeah. Well, I checked the average cloudy days, and nearly in the beginning of April, nearly the entire country is a 50-50 chance.
Oh, okay.
So, it's a dice roll wherever you go. We've got relatives down in Ohio that we could stay the night and be at least, 20 miles away from where we need to be. The path of totality, I believe, goes through like Oregon, just east of Toledo.
Right.
And they're maybe about 5-10 miles west of Toledo. So
Yeah.
it should be okay. And Oregon it's all farmland. Find a road, park, you're done. But there's going to be a lot of people doing it, I suspect. I'm kind of debating whether I just, I enjoy it visually, take maybe a spotter scope or something and be done with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss the eclipse because we've already missed one. And if we miss this upcoming one, we're going to have to travel to see one. And I would like to see one before I die, but we both agree that that's on a bucket list.
Yeah, I haven't worked out a strategy for it. My thinking is, park it, go south, stay somewhere near the path of totality, and then
right.
Check the weather. And
well, that was the killer in the North Carolina thing. Gil's place was smack dab on the line of totality. It was just, this is a crying shame, man.
Yeah.
We had a great location, planned it out, brought the equipment. We rented a car. We didn't even take our car down. It's like, I don't want to put the miles on it. But there we are. Oh, well. Still had a good time, though. Gil still talks about it, so that was worth it right there for at the time he was 81, and I think he's probably 2017. He's like probably 84, 85 now, and his health is going down. So it's like, for him, that was a total thrill.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly glad it worked out for me. It wasn't like it was tough driving to get to central Illinois or southern Illinois, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying it's heading. It's at 1 a.m. now. I'm probably going to shut down soon, but I was thinking for Friday, just so you know, I'm going to try to get with Adrian
Yeah,
to
you mentioned
yeah, to set up so that we basically, he's going to have to log into the meeting like an hour early or something. But get set up, get him set up with a co-host or something, and I think that should work out.
okay.
I mean, I think it's valuable, and frankly, the speaker, I want to listen to the speaker, but I'm going to be gone.
Where are you going to be?
uh, well, my mother-in-law is in town, and that's one of the things that's probably going to happen, that I'm going to have to skip out on her. But the band that I'm with has got a gig in the middle of July, and we've only got a couple of rehearsals to get everything together. We haven't rehearsed since February because of the COVID thing and vacations and stuff that time. So I got to make at least the majority of these things. So one of those things, and it turned out that I was triple booked on Friday as it was, not even including the mother-in-law. I mean, you got the Lowbrows, this practice, and the Salmagundi band in Ann Arbor was going to be playing at the Grotto, but the city, they hadn't gotten all the paperwork finished, so that got pushed back to July. It's like, Jesus, can't you guys decide on a different day for some of this stuff? Jeez. But that's the way it is.
Yeah.
We'll work it out, and once it starts, I mean, it's pretty brainless. And I frankly, it's like, let it run. I can turn it off and do whatever at that time. I figured it's like worst case, I'll turn it on, let it run from my work machine plugged into the wall, and an Ethernet line as stable as possible, and everybody can sign in and go wherever they want to anytime. And we can always chop after the fact if you want. There's extra, blank space or nothing going on. So I can get a recording of it at the very, very least, and I'm not worried about that. It's just a matter of aesthetics and timing. So.
Yeah, well, Ken is usually pretty to the point. He ought to be, I can't say he's the most exciting speaker, but he is.
Well, the topic sounded kind of fun with the Max Fleischer and all that worked into space animation and things like that. So an interesting talk, a little less scientific maybe than some of our stuff.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah, those are fun to do sometimes.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that guy they brought from MSU, but the Super Collider. He was very entertaining.
Yeah, no, he's a live wire.
Yeah, it really, I mean, nobody was bored, and the topic was probably several levels above where my head is, but that's okay. He was fun.
Yeah, he spoke at the Great Lakes Stargaze, and I caught him there, and I recruited him on the spot.
Good job. That was worthwhile. Well, I'm going to shut down and pack this junk up, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jeff. It was...
I mean, I've only gotten one person these last 2 nights because I think they're all, looking at 6 other people who are looking at the clear skies.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might give Lake Hudson a shot tomorrow night.
Yeah. I got to get down there sometime. I have to get to Peach Mountain one of these days. And oddly enough, I think it's going to be the networking that gets me there.
I live right by there.
Oh, I thought you were...
My parents do.
Oh, okay.
My parents do. I know how to get into the woods.
Yeah, I think everybody does. We're having vandalism issues. But yeah, on not this Friday, but next Friday, the ITS people, there's a professor in the, I think, electrical engineering or college engineering somewhere, who's actually using, he's actually using the radio telescope they're getting together with the Seas people and the WUOM people, ITS people, radio and telescope folks. I mean, I think they've got about 15 people on this Zoom meeting, but it'll be discussing, what the needs are and all that kind of stuff. So
All for the big
for
radio,
the internet out at Peach Mountain.
all for have internet out there.
Yeah.
Well, there's no point for them unless they get that big telescope running.
Well, for the College of Engineering, that's the case there. Seas wants internet connectivity for some of their outreach programs, and we'd like some degree of security cams and so it's maybe some ability to do some broadcast from there.
Yeah, well, that would
for our own outreach issues. So
yeah. Oh, another thing, I should mention this to you. Probably won't happen till next year sometime, but the Ann Arbor Camera Club wants to come out and watch people do astrophotography.
oh, okay, yeah.
I don't see that happening until, next May at the earliest.
I'll make sure I have my alignment procedures down.
Yeah. The Ann Arbor Camera Club is ancient, to say the least.
Yeah, it'll probably date back to the Argus building.
My wife's, she's not as old as I am, but like I said, she's retired.
Yeah.
And she's one of the youngest people in the room when they have a meeting. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, one thing that Jack Brisbane is working on is the Ann Arbor Public Library and some of their outreach. Telescope Times sharing some outreach, doing programming and stuff with these kinds of sessions with them. So there's probably some possibilities going to happen there, and probably sooner than later.
Yeah. You know who he's talking to over there?
I don't know who Jack's talking to, but he's mentioned it a couple of times now.
Because Amy Cantu is a librarian, and she's
Okay.
a lowbrow, and she and a colleague set up their telescope loaner program. And this might have been before you were in the club, but a bunch of us helped them set up those Star Blast telescopes. And then when they came back a couple of years later, all beaten up, they had us come in and fix them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's been a good night though. And frankly, tonight's probably a better night for imaging. I got some really nice M5 pictures this time though. I think those will turn out real nice.
I think they will too.
Jupiter and Saturn actually things are starting to calm down here. They're not as wavy as they started out. But I think I'm going to have to wait for another year or something to get decent pictures of those. They're just too low in the sky.
Yeah, well, I
mean, maybe later this fall they'll, do some arcing up as they go across the sky. But right now they're pretty low.
Yeah, well, they're pretty low at this time of night.
Yeah.
Like you say, in September they're going to be
Right. They'll be nice.
in opposition, be transiting earlier in the evening, and
Well, I figure worst case it'll get me used to the camera and stuff.
yeah,
Every camera is different, and I would even suppose even the different serial numbers are different amongst them, each model, where they all got their own CCD. They're all feeling kind of weird, or CMOS. But just getting used to the camera. The deep space camera is actually working pretty well for me. So
yeah.
but I got that back, November, October, maybe. It's been a while.
Yeah.
This one I got in February, and literally last night and tonight have been kind of the first sessions I've had with it. So it behaves a lot differently than the other two cameras I got. But okay, yeah, I got another minute.
Okay.
30
Well,
seconds left.
I'm going to say,
What's that?
I'm going to say goodnight.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Jim.
Yeah. Well, it was great. Thanks for
Yeah.
doing all this.
Yeah, for watching me inadequately aim my telescope and inadequate capture things.
It's all good. I mean, there's, you know,
We all luck out some days, and some days we don't.
yeah, and it's, you know, this, none of this is particularly easy. So, you know,
I always kind of think it's closer to an art form than anything, because it's just a little bit crazy. There's so many little things to polish and to play with and to tweak that you just have to spend time at it, and you have a feel for it more than, you know, nobody can give you a manual and tell you, do this, this, and this, and you'll get a great image. No, doesn't work that way.
yeah, well, just getting used to your particular rig and all the things that
Mhm.
go wrong so you can fix them and still have a night.
Well, that's the thing. What to tweak to get it to do what you want it to do. That's a big deal. So, okay, it's 1:15. We both got to get going. I have a job that I'm supposed to do tomorrow, I suppose.
Okay. Well, I don't, so I wish you luck.
Okay. Night, Jim.
Good night.